Ah, bienvenue dans une autre édition passionnette de Café avec Etienne. I'm feeling very français today. This particular blog actually referenced the French, and hence my alliteration and butchery of their beautiful language. A few months ago, I wrote a blog, and I was essentially making the argument that contrary to what a lot of different pontificators have been saying, the times that we are in are not necessarily consistent with the French Revolution. There's been a number of people that have been saying that there's these massive similarities between the French Revolution and to what we are experiencing right now in the United States. I dismissed that, and candidly, I still do. I don't think that the similarities are entirely adequate. However, over the last couple of weeks, and especially during the course of the Democratic Convention, I was taking a more, we'll say, globalist approach to the entire philosophy. And I realized that, in fact, there may be some similarities, but not what I think most of the pontificators are trying to articulate. Arguably speaking, I think that Trump may have been the revolution. And as a result of that, forces that maintained the original paradigm have since amassed in an effort to become effectively counter-revolutionary. And it's interesting when you think about it, right? The United States really, from the presidency of Ulysses S. Grant up until modern times, has been constantly struggling with this behemoth of a centralized state. It was completely contrary to what our original framers had envisioned, but nonetheless, this monstrosity has continued to exist. And even at the state level, you see massive expansions of governmental control. Well, within that sphere of operation, Donald Trump, who candidly was never supposed to be elected, has sought to dismantle many of the architectural, foundations of this federal system. And there are a lot of people, either because their own power base is potentially affected or because they don't know how to operate within a non-centralized state, have focused on the idea of getting him out of power so that we can go back to the heady days of yesteryear when corruption was centralized into one small location and people knew how to behave. And what was interesting is that with the Democratic convention, they started trotting out all of these, what I would call post-regime or pre-regime luminaries. Everybody from Kasich to Colin Powell. There were all of these people that have vested interests in maintaining the same status quo that existed, sort of antebellum before Donald Trump. And they want to go back to that, and it's understandable why they would. Number one, that's where they had power. Number two, that creates a level of predictability. And in a sense, since we could look at it and say that there has been this revolution that has taken place, they are, by definition, counter-revolutionaries, which is kind of amusing since they're coming primarily from the left. Anyways, take a look at the blog. I hope you enjoy it. You can find it at artemishq.com/blog. It will go live on Wednesday morning at about 8 o'clock Pacific time. Feel free to disagree with it completely, right? I mean, it's just simply my opinions. But as always, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. And above all else, especially in these times, stay safe.